is Erin. I'm a comic artist and illustrator based in Trail, BC. I've been making art for about 20 years now. I started out making drawings of cats and doing art clubs at the end of the day after school, and slowly ended up turning it into my passion. So I feel extremely fortunate that I get to do what I love every single day. I went to school for visual arts at UVic in 2010. I focused on drawing and painting and digital media, and that kind of blended perfectly into my comic interest. My projects would consist of animations of my characters coming to life, paintings, abstract with lots of fun colors, and drawings of the world I see around me, as well as the engineering building, which has incredible architecture at UVic. So I turned that focus to making my comics in my spare time after graduation. So after graduating, I transitioned into working on comics and then fan art, landscapes, cat drawings, and just evolving my practice into this very wide variety of projects that I work on, including teaching and video production, and even doing art shows. In 2019, I was invited by the VISAC to do an art show, completely solo of my comic art. It was incredibly exciting to be invited to do something like that, especially because comics aren't necessarily seen as high art, the same way that landscape paintings back in the old days were treated as low bourgeois art. So it was very exciting to be treated to this experience that I thought I might not be able to have. I created my first volume of Mindless Muse, which is my time travel fantasy comic about 3 women who travel through time, fight werewolves and vampires and other time travelers. So it was a great opportunity to finish the first volume, and I launched it at the opening of the art show. So it was very fun to have something like that in my repertoire, and it opened up a lot more opportunities, including workshops and lessons for the community. People still talk about the show to this day, and it was very exciting to work on it with Kristen Chester, who works at the VISAC, as well as the community who came together to help me put together the show. More recently, I have been starting to do markets, especially because we had to close down our connections and work more locally. So I used to do a lot of conventions in Kelowna and Vancouver and Calgary. And then when 2020 hit, I had to kind of redesign how I do my art. So I focused on local, did a couple of markets before they were unfortunately shut down in the fall of 2020, and then worked on my creations to bring them to the markets in 2021. I also had a baby at the beginning of 2020, so I have started working on daily comics of my life with my daughter and my husband and our 2 cats, and they have kind of felt like I've been together with all these people I haven't been able to see for a long time, because they get to see my daily life with my daughter and my family and comment on things that they relate to and feel connected as well. It was very exciting. Recently, I went up to the Alpine Grind in Rossland, and I actually got recognized because my daughter looks very similar to how I draw her in my comics. So someone who's a fan saw her and recognized her from the comics. So it's just really cool working in this small community and seeing people who are very committed to supporting me and who really connect with my artwork. I have also started doing landscapes, and I thought about doing a twist on them by introducing cats. So the series is called Meowtons, and I started with more, I wanted to focus on Canadian landscapes, specifically BC, so I did Chatterbox Falls, and I did Red Mountain, which I called Red Meowton. And then I just kind of exploded in doing all of these cat drawings, and I started to get a little sick of them. So then I decided to do dogs in urban settings. So, and I wanted to completely focus on the Kootenays for that one. So I did Corgis at the Hume, I did Pomeranians in Weimar, Dalmatians at the Lion's Head, Dachshunds at the Trail Skate Park, Golden Retrievers at Millennium Bridge, and just had so much fun focusing on these beautiful landmarks in the Kootenays and then bringing some fun and some creativity to them with these giant dogs. And so all of them have been combined into my coloring books. I have 2 separate ones, and then they're also put into one together, which is natural cats and unnatural dogs. So it's the cats in natural landscapes and the dogs in urban settings. So they're available separately, and then I put them together because I thought they complemented each other really well, and people seem to really enjoy either dogs or cats or both. So it's definitely been successful in the community, and people get a kick out of seeing these enormous animals in these local landmarks. So working with the community has been very exciting for me. I have branched out doing a lot more products available at the local trail market. And so that includes moving to making apparel, more books. I just combined one of my series into a bigger collection of them, and that has been very successful. And working with Gina and the IncrEDIBLY Farmers Market has been amazing. They are very supportive, and I find that I always am excited to work with the community and see friendly faces. And as the community has been able to open up more, it's been very nice to see some friendly faces I know from years back who recognize me from my art shows or small projects I've done or workshops. There's a nice group of high school students who are now graduating this year that I've worked with for the last couple of years. So it's been very exciting watching them grow with their own artwork and consult with them and help them grow their own practices and hopefully join me at future markets. I have also been started to make dice bags for role-playing games. So my husband got me into playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it's a very creative process we find. So I do portraits of people's characters. I make custom dice bags out of recycled fabric. So I get fabric from Vancouver that would have been used, just thrown into the dump essentially, and they've been recycled by FabCycle, and I get them at a very discounted rate, and I give them a second life as these awesome, useful dice bags. So that has been really exciting, opening that up to the community, especially because people are finally able to get back together and play these games that they've been on hold for over a year now. So it's very exciting to know that I'm going to be a part of their next campaign. As well, I've been doing some workshops and lessons locally. So I do comic lessons, and I have so much fun with those. We make collaborative projects usually. So we do a 4-panel comic, and everyone draws a panel, and we kind of make this really weird story, kind of like the game where you fold a piece of paper and it's you make a fit head for one person, you pass it to the next one. So we do that with 4 panels in a comic. So the talent that I see in those is amazing, and the creativity. It's definitely revitalized my own practice, being able to meet these very creative people in the community and help support them, and just let them know that there's another comic artist out there wanting to help them make their own art. I also have been doing digital drawing lessons. I just recently upgraded to an iPad with Procreate, so I find that the flexibility of being able to work on it outside or in the middle of the night in bed while my daughter's sleeping has been amazing. So I've been creating a ton of comics, a ton of new content, because I'm able to have that flexibility of not having to sit at my computer and commit time. I can do it at 15 minutes at a time, just whenever I have a second to myself. So I definitely find that flexibility is then able to help the people who already maybe have this program or have the software to work with it. So it's really exciting to be able to help people who are wanting to learn how to do art, and it's a very accessible program. It's very easy to pick up, and if you already have an iPad, it's relatively inexpensive. So it's been exciting to help people make their own digital art and start making content online digitally. So one of my most recent projects is working on coloring books of the Kootenays, focusing on locations and buildings that we're familiar with. So I decided to start with some of the trail locations just because I find whenever people talk about the Kootenays, they kind of skip over trail. There's a lot of Fernie and Nelson and Caslow and all those beautiful locations, but trail kind of gets missed a lot. So I wanted to make sure that I focused on the new walking bridge and threw some golden retrievers in there to make it kind of fun. And then the brand new trail skate park that they've been working on for over 10 years trying to get, and as well as the beautiful new library location. So that was kind of my inspiration, was trying to focus on locations that are close to home for me, but also that don't really get focused on a lot. And then I branched out to Castlegar and Nelson, Salmo, and all the kind of other locations that I've visited over time. So my idea was with this coloring book was kind of like a guidebook for people to see interesting locations of the Kootenays, as well as this fun idea of being able to color dogs in these fantastical sizes in these locations that we're all familiar with. So what I would love to see is people taking this coloring book on a little picnic or on a little drive to these locations and coloring them in while they're there and enjoying the beautiful Kootenays with their family or friends. I have been also invited locally to do projects such as my workshops and everything, but I also recently got invited to apply to decorate a chair for the Roslyn Arts Council. So that was definitely out of my comfort zone, but very exciting to do. They ended up choosing me and 3 other artists to paint these chairs that are now displayed up in Roslyn, and in hopefully September, as long as COVID allows, they're going to have a Culture Day celebration and then auction off the chairs to then pay for next year to then support 4 other artists. So it was very interesting to work on, and I kind of made an event of it on my social media channels, releasing videos every day of my progress. And it was a really cool and exciting opportunity to be able to do this very wacky kind of out of my comfort zone project, but now it's got me very interested in potentially doing murals in the future and more large-scale artwork for the community, just because I find that it brings such joy to everyone seeing this local art, and my creative sense of color and of humor seems to fit really well with the sensibilities of the people around me. I can be found kind of everywhere right now. I do the trail market every 2 weeks, and I also am testing out other markets. I've done the Castlegar one, and hopefully going to try, I don't think it'll be open this year, but next year there's the Art to Music event in Winlaw that was so fun 2 years ago. So I'm hoping that we can have that maybe next year, because that's like an 8 to 10 hour long event where they have live music and the artists are paid to come in and create art in reaction to the music. So it was a really cool event 2 years ago, and hopefully next year we can then do that again, because I definitely love meeting new people in Winlaw and going a little bit farther out of where I live and meeting new fans and other people in the community. I can be found at erinshuttleworth.com, and I also post a lot to my Instagram and Facebook, which is at Art by Erin Shutt, and my Facebook is Erin Shuttleworth Design. I do also have a Patreon, which is really fun. I offer postcards and gifts every month to my patrons, so they support me monthly to help with my income and my expenses, and in exchange I give them a little gift as a thank you. So last month I revealed a new print, which is Cats of the Summer Solstice, which is cats in bathing suits and in towels and just having fun in the sun with some fruit, all overlaid with summer foliage. So they all got a special print on special paper as a thank you that month. And this month I'm doing on beautiful metallic paper, custom artwork for them. And that is also something that once COVID has kind of lifted a bit, is I'm going to start doing in-person commissions again. I used to do them in the trail market at the Music in the Park, and it was very exciting and very fun, and kids love it. So I do anything that anyone wants drawn within about 5 minutes. It can be a portrait, it can be a pet, it can be a popular character. I've drawn a lot of Pikachus, and they're a great inexpensive gift for people. Over the winter, I actually was commissioned by someone to do 16 portraits of their entire werewolf group, all with their, all their favorite stuff. So, hiding a little Harry Potter in the background, and then a portrait of their character that they like to play on werewolf. So it's been really interesting seeing the creative ways we've been able to support local artists with the COVID restrictions. And I'm just so excited to see things ease up and be able to do more in-person commissions and portraits for people, because it just is a great gift and a great piece of art that you can take with you that's inexpensive. And you're part of that experience, watching me create the artwork and be a part of this piece that you now get to take home and frame or give as a gift. So I am really excited that I've been kind of cocooning myself over this little transition, and I'm just happy to be making more art for the community, more coloring books, more cat drawings, and just be able to be creative and enjoy the beautiful surroundings. I find as an artist, I'm constantly trying to think of ways to make people laugh and leave a permanent impression on them. So a lot of my projects, what I tackle is humor and magic and these fantastical dialogues that I'm creating with the viewer. I love hearing back years later when I have made a huge impression on someone, whether it's from my art walk installation where I made a movie store, where I made parodies of popular films as cats. So I did Clawless, I did Jurassic Park. I just had a blast creating this scene that left an impression on people for years to come. And I still get recognized for it. And that is just so cool and so awesome to be able to be in the community and have people get a little chuckle out of my artwork or have this lasting impression. So that's really my goal. I also did a project for the Roslyn Arts Council where I painted this Adirondack chair with these whimsical local animals, so a bear, a woodpecker, and a fox. And I just have been so excited by the reaction from the community of the fun colors and the adorable way that I've managed to turn this chair into this now living piece of artwork. So that's really my goal, and just it's something about being able to make art for people to remember over time, and never taking myself too seriously, never trying to just create art for the sake of making art. I'm always making art for me. I'm always having an intention in mind, and always moving forward with my style and letting it grow and letting it move with my current circumstances and with the community as it changes and grows. So I find that I've taken a lot of the seriousness out of my work, a lot of the drama, and just focused on the fun aspect of my work, because I really feel like people just love having fun when engaging with art, and the colors and the whimsy of it is just so accessible to people, so they feel like they can appreciate art without having to have this level of expertise in it. Anyone can look at my artwork and have fun with it and engage with it, and that's just something that's so special and something that I strive to do. Anytime I take on a new project, I try to create this fun, engaging story that people are going to be able to resonate with and have something that they're going to remember, and something that will get them maybe more interested in art or comics and cartooning. That's really the goal, is just bringing cartoons to the 21st century and having people recognize that it's not just kids shows. It's this amazing art style that can tell a lot of interesting stories. And as I see all the youth move around with their own art practices and start to make these really engaging pieces with an anime or cartoon style. I just love to think that maybe I was that little bit of support there for them to feel like it's okay to keep drawing cute animals or their doodles or their anime original characters, and that they know there's someone else out there doing this. So I just like to think that I'm this stepping stone for other artists in the area to be able to grow up and see that it's okay to keep drawing cute things. It's okay to keep drawing a non-photorealistic style. And it's okay to make artwork that is purely just for fun. You don't have to make these giant messages. There's always someone who's going to be able to tell that big story, and I love being able to tell the little stories about the community, about the landscape we live in, about the buildings we experience on a day-to-day basis, and enjoying just having fun with it and bringing some magic and whimsy into our lives.